Continue our working day. The floor is given to Andriy Lysenko, Speaker of the ITO, with the fresh information from that zone. You have the floor, Colonel. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. Yesterday in the zone of ITO was characterized by the preservation of an unstable situation and the armed provocations on the part of our adversary against our guys. They actively used the firearms, the grenade launchers, mortar launchers, and also twice tanks of our enemy actually fired against the Pisky. The effects of carrying the shelling using the big bore guns was not fixed. The most hot points of the combat of ATO with the adversary in the Mariupol direction. This is the village of Shirokina in Chermalik in Donetsk area, the area of airport in Lugansk direction, the settlements near Bakhmut route. Yesterday we fixed 22 flights of the enemy's UIVs, and one of those, which was flying at the altitude of 3,000 meters from Starobelsk towards Liman, was downed by the air defense artillery. I would like to emphasize that those settlements are quite away from the line of contact. Due to the heavy combats in Shirokina, representatives of the special monitoring mission of SCE in the Joint Center to monitor and coordination, they actually went to visit this settlement. The observers actually had the initiative to demilitarize and to bilateral, stage-by-stage withdrawal of the weaponry and the forces from this area. Over the last day, one our guy was killed and 2 were wounded. Russia continues to concentrate their troops on the border with Ukraine in the forested area near the settlement of Delevko-Belgorod region of Russian Federation, 10 kilometers away from the state frontier between Russia and Ukraine. They registered the deployment of the military grouping of the armed forces of Russia, including 50 units of the armed vehicles and 2,000 servicemen. I would like to stress that in case of any kind of military activity in this zone, they have to report this happening. And then another, let's say, Marine detachment took the Solomons to Ukraine, and they were congratulated by their near and dear and just ordinary people. Training, tactical, military, medical training takes place now. They were trained how to provide the medical aid, the first medical aid, and evacuate the wounded persons during the, let's say, the paratroopers' activities. Also, they were demonstrated how to provide medical help in case of coming into case of clashes with the enemy. Also, psychological assistance is provided. They took care of the medics took care of the medical and psychological support, which helped our armed forces, are helped by the highly skilled psychologists. Such measures actually try and help the military guys to come back to the peaceful life. The detachments of police or militia undergo the enhanced combat training. They have the training, let's say, exercises in shooting, and they on a regular basis they actually try to master the skills which they will need badly when coming to the Donbass area. Also, they actually enhance and perfect their tactical activities during their service in the checkpoints under conditions of attack and defense, and they also further perfect their skills to detain armed criminals. Also, the Ukrainian army receives help from the Canadian partners. Together with Canada is going to deploy in Ukraine about 200 servicemen to implement the programs of military training and further strengthening of the potentiality of the armed forces of Ukraine. They're going to be there until the end of March of 2017. Our law enforcement guys detained a very dangerous militant, and we nicknamed Zima, winter, who actually collected the intelligence information about the fortification structures and the liberated areas. This criminal actually underwent a special training under the leadership of officer of the Russian Special Services, nicknamed Adolf. And also our counterintelligence service detained 3 members of the gang formation DPR, which organized or who organized the illegal pseudo referendum in Donetsk. One of the followers of the occupants was nominated or appointed, got the office in the so-called Ministry of the Emergency Situation of DPR. Another militant was actually displayed a special hostilities and cruelty against Ukrainian military men. Ukrainian law enforcement agencies find the underground, the hideouts and hideaways for the special ammunition collectors. One of those, they found the 4 machine guns of Kalashnikov and a lot of cartridges, 5, one combat grenade RG-42, and
in Mariupol they discovered arsenal of weapons. They planned to apply them to do terroristic attacks before May celebrations and holidays, specifically 4 hand grenade launchers, 5 grenades, and 400 rounds for automatic weapons were revealed. In Odessa, our law enforcers revealed the hidden place with 6 smoke grenades, imitating the blow up of artillery shell that belonged to pro-Russian group Kulikove Pole. The adversaries planned to use them in order to place terroristic attacks in the city. In order to support fighters service in anti-terroristic operation, Lutsk Law Lyceum sent them candies and special fetishes. The rotation is going on. 50 policemen, volunteers from Kirovograd left Kirovograd for ATO zone. They had been blessed in the local temple, and another unit of Lviv law enforcers was sent to the eastern Ukraine. They will replace the friends in arms that will be under recovery at home. The servicemen of National Guard collected the charitable parcels for children living in the eastern Ukraine. Candies and foodstuff were sent to Social Psychological Rehabilitation Center in Slavyansk, and the National Guards visited boarding school in Slavyansk. And Slavyansk district became a shelter for many resettlers from near the frontline cities of Donbass. And at the same time, the occupants trying to make occupied area of Donbass as a gray zone and lawless area. The occupational administration in the territory of Donetsk region started to issue provisional ID certificates. In the future, they plan to issue so-called DPR passports that will not be recognized by any country in the world, and they will be not legal mean to present at the crossing border. Your questions, please. 1+1 TV channel. Do you have any more specific information on these provisional ID certificates that will or would become the DPR passports? Where do they make it? Everything that produced at the occupied territories and issued to citizens as so-called legal mean of identification is illegal, in fact, because the illegal band formation, armed formation, they produce this, they manufacture this. That's why all the certificates we're speaking of, notwithstanding their form or say shape, they are illegal. Any more questions, colleagues? No.